Hello. In today's lecture, we will be writing the code for our first application. And this would be Hello World application. So let's get started. Let's go to File, New Project. And we need to name our application. And as far as naming is concerned, I would highly recommend that you pick a name that describes the project that you're about to create. That way, when you go back and you look at your folders and you have several projects or several solutions, you would recognize the project that you're looking for, and it would be easier to find your project. So for this one, we will call it Hello World application. And make sure that you know where you're saving your project. You can also look at in the folder and see here and track your project folder, see if it will appear in the right folder. And also make sure that you're creating a C# application. And we're looking at a Windows Forms application right here. Okay, so like we said before, we have some files that are automatically generated by the Visual Studio environment. So we have a program.cs, and that includes our startup code. And so that is the code that is executed when we first launch the application. A form that automatically created by the application. And then in our window, we can see the toolbox, we can see the solution explorer, and then we can see the properties window, and then here we can see our designer. So this is our basic form. And the first thing we want to do is we want to rename our form. Okay, so and to do that, we're going to go to properties and look at the name. Right here, the name attribute, and we're going to change that. And again, we want our name to reflect what we're doing. So, for example, for this one, we're going to call it Hello World Form. Now, you need to differentiate between the name of the form and the text that appears right here. So see, even though we changed the name of the form, the text still remains the same, and it says Form 1. But if it goes Hello World, the user will see code users using. So it has to be something that makes sense, and if you can use spaces if you want to, etc. Okay? And the next thing we want to do is maybe form, and to do that we can all drag and drop to the size that we would like to have. And like we said before, if we double click on the form, we're going to see the background code right here that shows up. So that would be your form1.cs, and it has the code behind this specific form. So we can go back and forth. We can look at our properties window, or we can go back and change the code as we want to. All right, another control that we can use is the background color. We can change that if we want to. You have several options right here. We can pick a white form, or we can leave the alt. And when you're trying to change the size of your form, you can either drag and drop or go directly to the size of the form and change it right here. So you can enter any number that would better fit your needs. All right, so these are two different ways that allow you to change the size of your form. And here you can have several properties. You can also change the icon. That would be this icon right here. If you want to change that image. And there are several others that you can go through and play with as in with the tool and with the C#. So right here, just keep in mind that on the left side is going to be your property name, and on the right side is going to be the value for that property. Very similar to Windows Access. So if you're familiar with Windows Access, it works about the same way. Okay, so for this specific application, we're going to add a button. We're going to change the name. And for this one, we're going to call it display button. And again, when you're trying to name any control, try to use a meaningful name. So try to use a name that would describe your control. So in the background, when you're writing code, it would be easier to recognize that control. The next is the button. And again, this is what the user will see once the application is running. So for this specific button, we're going to have this text. We're just going to say, click here. That would prompt the user to click the button. Very simple. We can also change the alignment of the text if we want to, and this is very intuitive. We can either pick the center or the top, the bottom, the left or the right, or the either corners as we wish. So depending on the application, what you're using the button for, you might want to change the alignments. But for this one, we will just keep it in the middle center. Now, if we double click on the control, we're going to switch to the code. All right. Now, this code would describe whatever code will be executed when the user clicks on the button. And see here that we can see our name of the button. So we have display button _ click. So this function or this method describes the behavior of the application whenever the user clicks on the display button. So for this first very simple project, what we would like to do is to have the project or the show a says however the user clicks on the display button. And to do that, we're going to use a control called message box. And the message box is used by C# to display a message. And you're going to see in a second how it works. So this is what we're going to do. We're selecting message box, selecting the show option or the show method. So what this would do, it would show a message box. So we'll go ahead and save. Let's save all. So that way, if we have several files in our project, all those changes in all the files will be saved. And see here that we have a red line under our statement. So that means that we have something wrong. There is an error right there. And here, this is what is referred to as IntelliSense, and this is a great tool offered by Visual Studio. It actually recognizes the errors that you are having in the code while you are coding, and it also shows you which error occurs while you're writing. So for this specific statement, we can see here that we have an error. Now let's go ahead and read the error that we have displayed. The error states that we have no overload for method show takes 0 arguments. What that means is that this method needs an argument. We need to give it something. When we show that message box, we need to tell it what to say. We cannot have an empty message box. So for this specific example, we wanted to say, hello world. And that would be our message box. So let's go ahead and save and let's try it and see how the application works. So our project is being built, and see here that we have our form. Our form's name is Hello World, and this is, this is the text that is displayed. It's not necessarily the name of the form, but this is what's displayed on the form. Like this is the text that we have selected for this form. This is our button, and it actually says click here, like we have changed it to be. Now, when we click it, we have a message box. And this message box says the message that we have included in our application, which is Hello World. We go ahead and click OK. If we click on the button again, we will keep getting the same message. Okay, so this has been our first project. I hope this is helpful, and see you in the next video.